welcome to the Gaia update for the full moon in Taurus that's happening on October 24th, 2018. I'm Adrienne Elise. So this full moon in Taurus is happening at 1 degree Taurus. That's just the very beginning of the sign, and this is exactly where this whole fixed cross energy has been happening, is at these early degrees of the fixed signs. Now the fixed signs, they have an energy of completion, of holding space, and to have this continual, ongoing fixed cross happening in these fixed signs is talking about, at the very beginning of these fixed signs, is talking about a brand new reality. We are birthing a brand new paradigm. It's the early beginnings of this newness, and I know it's frustrating for a lot of people because they've been like, well, wait a minute, you've been telling me this since 2008 and 2012 and so yeah, but it is really happening now. As far as the Pluto-Uranus square that started back in 2011, is now we're finally starting to see the manifested effects of this in our outer reality. The energy, the backdrop has changed. But now we're moving in, and this is this message of this grand fixed cross, which means it's putting us at a crossroads. Are you ready for the new? That's the role of this Venus retrograde right now, because Venus is retrograde in Scorpio, and it's going into the depths of our psyche. Now Venus, this is what's so potent about this particular full moon, is that Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and so it makes this Venus retrograde incredibly exalted for the day of this full moon. I hope you can join me for the live activation. I'm going to do it at the time leading up to the exact time of this full moon, which will be 10 in the morning on the 24th in Mountain Standard Time. So this fixed cross, so what's going on is that Uranus is in the early degrees. It's retrograde actually, so it's still in Taurus, but it's at 0 degrees Taurus for this full moon, but it's been hanging out in square to the nodes of the moon. So there's this T-square that's been happening with Uranus squaring up with the north node and the south node of the moon. Now the nodes of the moon are talking about future and past karma, about how are we going to get to go where we're going, and what are we dragging from behind. And so Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, the Aquarian age. Mars is still in Aquarius. And so Mars, we've had this powerful square with Venus square Mars that we felt for close to 2 weeks. And this is like this inner kind of battle within ourselves of like what we think we want and what we really want, what we thought we wanted, and this internal rearranging. Now, underneath all of this, though, is this Venus retrograde in Scorpio, because Venus is that ruler of Taurus, and it also rules Libra. It is talking about our self-worth. Taurus is about resources. It's about what fills out the plant. So Aries is like the initial sprout of the energy that pops that sprout out of the ground and out of its seed pod. Taurus is the filling in of the plant. It's the physical body. It's the having everything you need to survive in this realm. And so we are programmed across the board, particularly in the United States, and I think probably everywhere in the world, and also, but in particular, indigo souls and star seeds in light workers, with deep issues around self-worth and about whether or not we're welcome here on the planet. But guess what? We're landing a new paradigm. And this new paradigm is Uranus moving into Taurus. Now, Uranus is retrograde. It's going to go back out of Taurus, back into Aries, and come into Taurus again in the spring, in March. So that is going to be the significator of when we're really moving in for good. when Uranus will stay in Taurus for good. That's when we're really moving in to this new paradigm, new timelines trying to land, new opportunities trying to come home, new structures. Basically, Uranus in Taurus is about bringing the spiritual energy of the cosmos and spiritualizing the earth, bringing the planet, bringing the energies of the truth that's bigger and wider than what we've been told here. And embodied, the earth embodied with cosmic energy, our lives embodied with cosmic energy, to the point where our future, what our future really looks like, is this: you can't be here and deny the fact that there's a cosmic intelligence and a cosmic love that runs this world. So interestingly enough, with this Venus retrograde, what a lot of people are feeling is a disconnect from that love, a disconnect from source and spirit, and all of these deep, dark feelings that have been hidden deep in the psyche, this programming that says you're not good enough. We don't really want your kind here on the planet. We go ahead and go over there and just hide who you are. And so this is like a fundamental shift that needs to happen in the light worker soul, is to stand up and claim their self-worth. To know that, of course, it's silly if you really think about it. It's like, why we're so caught up in whether or not we deserve God's love or to be cared for. And it's like, that is a basic human right. And everybody deserves. Why are we so hung up on this? But this programming is deep and profound, and Venus retrograde is demanding that we go find it. So we're in this place right now. We're in the corners of our lives. We're in this grand fixed cross. We're at the crossroads, and we have to face ourselves. We have to face these false beliefs. We have to face this ego death that is necessary in order for us to move into the life that we really desire, into these new timelines, into this new chapter on planet Earth. So everything's lining up here. We've got the nodes, and it's about the past and the future, what's holding us back, what we need to do to move forward. Mars and Aquarius talking about how do we move forward, that whole retrograde that happened, and Mars is like, how do we move forward? What is the warrior of this new paradigm look like? What is the male energy, the action that we want the changes we want to see happen? So how do we do all that? And so with this Venus square Mars, it's really asking, Mars was direct, and Mars is like, come on, let's go. I got my message. Let's go. And Venus is like, I don't think, I was told maybe that it's not okay for me. And this is this part in all of us. This is this little girl, this part in all of us that feels shameful about who they are and not worthy of living and breathing and experiencing true life on the planet. Now that's the deal with the Scorpio energy and Venus retrograde. Scorpio wants purpose and meaning and depth and connection, and so Venus is on quite a journey into the underworld. Venus will be back in Libra for the month of November. In October, it'll be Scorpio. It goes direct in mid-November, and then will come out of its retrograde shadow by mid-December. So we've got a couple more months of this energy, but it's really, really important and really, really crucial. And it is coming up for real right now with this full moon in Taurus saying at 1 degree, saying, hey, do you deserve, are you worth it? Are you going to live here? Are you going to claim your space and claim your permission to be treated with respect and honor? This is what we're all going through right now, and all of the shadowy stuff in the closet. This is past life, so-called failures and heavy energy, and all of this just like feeling like you're going back into lifetimes from the past you have no information about, but all of a sudden you're trapped in that place of a lot of the feeling is around failure, hopelessness, overwhelming responsibility. This is in the light worker soul, and also a feeling of not being welcome. So the core energy underneath this self-worth issue in the light worker soul is this programming and actual real experiences in past lives, but of like failure to bring your light, failure to shift the planet, failure to save the people, failure to be the light worker that you are, because you've been thwarted again and again, life after life. But this life is different. And right now we're changing it right here, right now. And it's like a culmination of everything we've been working for lifetimes. It's finally starting to happen, you know, and there's kind of like some, it's almost like the gears of this new paradigm are kind of like rusty, like it's this kind of stuck feeling. Can we do it? Can we really move out of these old patterns? Can we really move into something new? And of course, our manifested world and the media is telling us it's absolutely impossible. It's all darkness out there in the world, and you'll never win against it, right? They want us all in this dark corner. But going into the dark corner with this Venus retrograde is allowing us to dig down in our psyche and say, you know what? I have been living my life, maybe lifetimes, based on this belief system that I am not welcome, not wanted, not honored, not in who I am. And as a bringer of light and healing and health and happiness to this planet. And that's silly. That's a silly belief system. And yet, and if I asked you on the street if you felt that way, you'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But deep in our psyche and our consciousness, this is what's been holding us back. So it's kind of interesting because there's collective soul groups going through this together. So remember this, because part of the energy that's coming up in these difficult periods of time is this feeling of like you're completely and utterly alone. This is how you felt in past lives. You're isolated. There's nobody around that can validate your spiritual truth. And of course, we're going to have to go visit these places so that we can clear this out of our psyche for good and claim our connection to source. Claim the fact that we are loved and cared for in this universe, and that's where Venus is taking us on this crazy journey right now. So the thing about the Venus retrograde, the hallmark energy of this is that Venus is opposing Uranus. So Venus in Scorpio is a cross from those early degrees of Taurus where Uranus is right now. And so Venus already did this once, so that we were feeling this grand cross with Venus and Uranus in September. Now that went off and Venus went ahead and went on its retrograde. And now in October, Mercury came into this grand cross, into that opposition with Uranus, and kind of kept the torch going. Now, towards the end of October is when the sun will come and take its turn in the grand cross. And just after that, Venus comes back for its second opposition with Uranus in this grand fixed cross with the nodes. And so this is a powerful full moon because we've got the sun and Venus close together opposite the moon and Uranus. And okay, so Uranus is that ruler of Aquarius. It's about bringing in these new energies. It's about the awakening. It's about shaking up the old paradigm and seeing a different way, changing your perspective, bringing in information from your higher self and ancient wisdom, and just having things, just new energy, new information coming in. And so on the full moon in Taurus at 1 degree, you know, everything right here is pointing the sun and Venus together at the early degrees of Scorpio. Venus retrograde, it's like, ooh, you know, we want to bring in this new world, but unfortunately humans, and particularly the projector, powerful humans, the light worker souls that are on the planet right now, they don't feel like they deserve it. They don't feel like they're good enough. And this is where we're stuck here. Like, it's like, yes, it's finally starting to happen, and yet we can't go anywhere, you know? So this is bringing up some intense feelings of, it's like the Venus retrograde has this energy of taking you back to these past lives where you were perhaps persecuted or called the heretic or, you know, targeted or, you know, put in prison, you know? And it's like, all of a sudden you can be triggered into that place and you're right there and you're in the dungeon and you're like, wait, how did I get here and how do I get out, right? But it's like this has been going on for lightworker souls. It's like complete avoidance of these feelings. These are like deep, dark feelings of incredible isolation, being left alone on this planet and unwanted. Nobody wants what you are bringing. And those energies are coming up so strong right now. but they're not true. They're lies. And so it's so important for us to go and find them and clean them out. And this full moon is like, okay, you know, are you going to claim your self-worth? Are you going to get out of victimhood? And this is really interesting, that energy too, because Chiron has gone back into Pisces. It's in the end degrees of Pisces now. And so we're kind of back in this kind of like, it's really easy with this Venus retrograde to go back into this feeling of victimization. And this is one of the things that, the main thing that holds light workers back is this deep programmed low self-worth to the, you know, bordering on self-hatred. And even though people are like, oh, I'm practicing self-love, right? But it's like, this is deeper subconscious stuff. And these are the feelings you've avoided for a long time. And you kind of been like, oh, that's not true. I just kind of feel that way sometimes, but, you know, eventually it goes away and I can distract myself. And, you know, so a lot of people are falling into these types of patterns of addiction and things that distract us from these darker feelings. But the deal with the Venus retrograde is like, no, you can't get away from it this time, you know, and that's good because we want to get rid of it for good. So, but it's not that fun. But know that you're in it together. This is where we break the illusion. You know, it's like we've been programmed to think that we're unwanted, not welcome here on the planet, and we're completely and utterly alone and disconnected from source. Those are the lies that are deep, deep in the psyche, you know, of the light worker soul. And so we got to kind of open up that trap door and look in there and shine the light and be like, oh, you know, these are lies I've been telling to myself. I bought into it. See, if you're persecuted after lifetime, you're going to buy into it. You're going to buy into the fact that you're not wanted on the planet. And why would you come somewhere where you're not wanted? And it's all a lie. All a lie. Because this planet cannot do what it's going to do in this evolution of what's trying to happen right now without you. And without the light workers, without the crystal children, without these incredibly bright souls that are on the planet right now, most of them feeling lost, alone, and confused, you know? And so it's like we're being asked to prepare through this, go into the depths and know you're worth it and claim your self-worth and all that, and claim that you deserve it. And yet we have no idea what we're actually what we're doing. You know, we're still in this place of a lot of light workers being like, but I know I have a mission here, but what is it? It's like all that programming from past lives has been so powerful to actually prevent the light worker soul from actually even knowing who they are. Because it's like, oh, this part of yourself is not welcome on the earth because it's disruptive to the control energies in the authoritarian paradigm. So you need to make it go away. And then light workers made it go away to the point where they don't even know who they are. So this is like a landing. It's not just timelines landing. It's like our soul, spirit, our source, are just coming back into a connection instead of just flailing around. So it's really kind of a tricky thing because we're being asked to trust, we're being asked to do the deeper work, and we're being asked to be ready, and yet we still have no idea, right? So a lot of what's happening for this spring for people is this incarnation, this like that when Chiron goes back into Aries, it's like this incarnation coming into really arriving on the planet and like, okay, we're here, let's rumble. Right? And it's so powerful and so beautiful, but this energy gets masked in all of these delusions and these lies that we're alone, we're unsupported, and we don't deserve that love and support. And so we got to go find it, and we got to set that little girl free in all of us that's scared and hiding in the corner. So this is a potent, powerful full moon, a great opportunity to embody, to claim your truth, to claim your gifts. This is the thing about the self-worth, is that this Taurus rules self-worth. It also rules your gifts, your abilities, your resources. So people associate Taurus with resources like money, but money is a manifestation of the real resources. You know, we know money is just, it's a symbol, right? And so what are the real resources we're talking about? And that's here. That's what we bring with us. That's like lifetimes of stuff we've gone through and experienced in higher dimensional realities, so we could squeeze our body, our big energy field into this narrow 3D and feel very uncomfortable and separated and go through all of this so that we can grab a hold of some lost souls and take it to the next level. And that's what we're about to do. And so it's just a crucial time right now to just pay attention, to go into the depths. Don't be scared. This is temporary. You know, it's okay if you fall into old patterns, because you're just visiting, and it's not, you're not going to be here forever. It feels like you're never going to get out of this place, but actually you're going there to be released from this place. And so for this activation, we're going to be kind of claiming this embodiment, this incarnation, this permission to not just be here on the planet, but be held and loved and supported and have what we need. You know, Taurus is everything you need to survive, everything you need in the physical reality that supports you. And with this low self-worth, it's like, you know, we feel like maybe we deserve poverty and, you know, and isolation. That's what we deserve. And that's just like, it's just some deep distortion where indigo souls are blaming themselves for the karma, for the negative karmic patterns for the whole planet. So a lot of indigo souls are feeling like incredibly responsible and failure, like you can never win against this light, and you're against the light will never win against the darkness. Those kinds of feelings are coming up, and this feeling of like I failed in my mission, so intense, so powerful coming up. And it's also a lie because you've succeeded, because you're here right now. And this is an incredible opportunity for all of us to be here together, to find each other, and to hold tight through this incredible transition, spiritual transition that we're going through on planet Earth. And so as you move into these new energies, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel more free from the trapped physical heaviness of this world. And other people, though, might be feeling more trapped, you know, and that's why you're going through this right now, so that you can be available for other people and be like, hey, I went through this, I got it, I understand, I know what's happening, and it's totally worth it, and it's going to be okay. So hang in there. I hope you can join me for the full moon activation at 10 a.m. on the 24th. That's Mountain Time, so that would be 9 a.m. on the West Coast and noon on the East Coast. And I look forward to seeing you there or next time. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.